6th. Haven't said this in a long time. Haven't been able to say this in a long time. But New England Patriots are out. They're done. They lost on Saturday night at home to the Tennessee Titans. Dave, I know you guys just talked about it on Rundown, but...
I've talked about it a lot. It sucks being out this early. And I definitely convinced myself we were going to make a run because you've seen so much from the team. But I'm okay with it right now. Like the loss to Miami at home the week before that cost the wild card, huge red flag, huge red flag. And then what they did against the Titans, I mean, they could have won that game, clearly. The Edelman drop was huge. They had first and goal of the one, ran it up the middle 3 times, didn't even come close to scoring. That was huge. They had like a 3rd and 1, I think. They ran up the middle in the, second quarter. They didn't get it. That was huge. But the bottom line is you can't stop the run at all. I also would have gone for it after that Edelman play. That game could have gone either way. But I don't think the Titans are very good. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, if the Titans turn around and make a run and go to the Super Bowl, I will be sick to my stomach because I'm like, we could have beaten the Titans. But I think the Titans are going to go lose by 1,000 to Kansas City. If somehow by a miracle they get by them, I think they lose by 1,000 to the Ravens. So
they play Baltimore first.
They play Baltimore first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I was thinking. So I think they're going to lose by 1,000 to Baltimore this week. And if they got by them, I think they lose by 1,000 you'd assume Kansas City. So if Tennessee somehow changes that, and it's like, oh, my God, Tennessee's making a run at the Super Bowl and we should have beaten them or could have beaten them, I'll feel differently. I feel differently with the Patriots when I feel like it was a missed opportunity, like we're the best team and a play happened. I've used this example, obviously the 2 giant Super Bowls where you're a play away from winning, you feel sick. We lost to Denver, at Denver, the year Ben Watson ran like the interception was one of the worst Brady games I've ever seen.
Didn't factor in the altitude that year, right?
No, you got it confused.
That's 05.
That was 05?
05. We dropped special teams, punt. Brady threw an interception at the goal line, the one where it was. Our defense gave up like 10 yards total offense. That was one of the best Patriot teams I've ever seen. That, I think, was for the three-peat, actually. And that team was so fucking good. Like, I've never gotten over that loss. Those are the ones that stick with me. This team, and even Brady kind of said it. They're like, how devastating is he? He's like, it stinks, but guess what? We weren't playing well and making plays like the second half of the season. This was who we are. The team you saw on Sunday was the team we've been down the stretch, and it really was. So at some point, you are what you are, and I don't feel sick to my stomach. It's quickly now what's going to happen with Brady moving forward. Your guess is as good as mine. I think he's going to be back. I think it makes the most sense for him to be back. I think he can still play. I don't put that loss at all on him. I thought he played pretty fucking good. Their offense is depleted. They're a different team than what they had last year. Gronk, obviously, arguably the greatest tight end of all time. You lose him. David Andrews, who's like the anchor of your offensive line with blood clots, people going in and out. Amendola is gone. They just didn't have parts. They just didn't have parts.
What's going to be the difference maker in Brady's decision? Like, what's going to make him either go to New England, go somewhere elsewhere, look for different options? Like, what do you think what is Kraft? What do they have to figure out to get him to come back?
And I don't know. First of all, Brady did DM me after when I had my little post game saying I thought he played well and still had a lot of football left. He said, thanks for the support, man. Love that. The only thing, rationally speaking, that I can think of,
called you my guy. That's
my guy, is Belichick wants to start over. He's like, this isn't the right business move to pay him all this money because of his age, and we got to eventually move on from him, which the rumors are is, he got involved. Kraft got involved with the Garoppolo thing. Again, I don't know facts on that, but he was ready to go with Garoppolo, and Kraft was like, nope, Brady's our guy. To me, it's a little different because you had Garoppolo. I don't know, Statham, if he thinks that's the guy. That's the only way I see Brady not coming back if, Belichick doesn't totally want him or they don't want to pay him, which I think they have to pay him, and it becomes, do you want Belichick as your coach or do you want Brady as your quarterback? I think Brady would come back and then Belichick could go somewhere else. they have to get along. This is just a total guess because I think they're both coming back. I don't think the rift is nearly what they say. And Belichick has proven that I don't care who you are, how many Super Bowls you've had, how important, how iconic, if he doesn't think it's like the right business decision for the future success of the Patriots, he will part ways. But I don't know how that's not the right. I don't know how those two things aren't aligned right now. Tom Brady, if you give him a 3-year deal, is the best decision for the next 3 years for the Patriots to win another Super Bowl. I don't know any scenario that's not, unless Brady's like, I want a 10-year deal, which I don't think he does. So I just don't see how everyone to me should be on the same page here, which is very clearly Tom Brady comes back. I said it on the rundown. If you told me, hey, Tom Brady never played for the Patriots and line up all these teams that need a quarterback, I think the Patriots offer him the best chance to win a Super Bowl still. So I don't know. I just don't. I think he will be back. I think all sides here should be aligned that the best interest of winning, both personally, professionally, as a team, legacy, it all points back to the Patriots. So I think he'll be back, and I think they'll win again. And I don't mean win again, like win the division. I think they'll win another Super Bowl. I think they'll retool. I don't think anybody retools like the Patriots. They've done it multiple times during this dynasty where the team starts dipping a little bit. I Googled after they lost to the Ravens, 2010, dynasty over, this, that. Belichick's the best. You got to get him some tools. You have to. And the defense, which everyone was sucking their dick, you can't let a guy run for 9,000 yards on your face. Granted, they played better in the second half, but still.
Do you think there could be any factor of Brady thinking, look, I've won all I could win here. I've proven everything. The only thing I have left to prove is I could win without Belichick and the Patriots? Would that be the only thing I could think of that
outside
would
of what I just said, of Belichick being like, I don't want some?
All right, let's say that Belichick and the Patriots are like, we want him back, but Brady thinks like, you know what? I want to go somewhere where I can prove I can win on my own.
I guess there could be a thought to that, but
he may think, what else do I have to prove left in New England?
He could get the most ever, still Super Bowl 7. He could think that. I don't think he does. To me, the risk reward, because what happens if he does that and doesn't win?
Right. And it's also the wrong time of his career to do it.
Right. And you're not, my guess is you're not going to go somewhere that's better situated to win than the Patriots, so it's going to be harder. What happens if you lose and then Belichick brings someone else and they win? Like, right. That's not just that you didn't win. It's like, to me, they both, Belichick and Brady, both to a degree have risk in splitting ways right now. And if one wins and the other doesn't, that skews like the balance of history in whoever was more successful. And it's just quarterback go to a new system, new players. I mean, Montana, when he went to the Chiefs, he took them. They were good. They weren't Super Bowl good, but they were like playoffs. I think Brady's that good. But where is he going to go that suddenly is like better than the Patriots? That's what I mean. There is no team that's better situated, take the quarterback out, to win now than the Patriots. I don't think.
Yeah, I can't think of any off top. I mean, you could say if the Bears revamped their defense, but
he's in the same situation there. Like, their offense has no tools.
Right.
It sounded like, too, from what Kraft said, Kraft takes, like, he wants Brady. He doesn't want Brady to be one of those guys who finishes his last year or two at a different
which is what makes me think an almost more likely scenario, believe it or not. And I don't think that either are going to happen, is Brady would come back. The only way there's a split, let's say there's gun to head, there's a split, meaning the two, Belichick and Brady, aren't together, right, would be Belichick leaving. Because I don't think Robert Kraft, the way he's talking, is ever going to let Brady, not that it's ultimately his choice, but he's going to do whatever he can to keep Tom Brady as a Patriot if Tom Brady still wants to play. That's the vibe. That's the message I got reading what Kraft said, which is like, I hope he does one of two things: plays with us or retires. I don't want to see him in another uniform. And he ultimately is the final decision maker. So Brady's like, hey, I want this contract and I'll come back. And Belichick's like, that screws us up. And Kraft has to choose one or the other. This is a total guess. I don't see him letting Brady walk.
Yeah, and then Belichick says, I'm going to take my ball and go somewhere
Correct.
else.
Like, you've chosen him.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that's happening. But I could see it's all conjecture. I think it's going to work out. I think they both want to win. I think they go down in a weird way, not winning this year, and the way they go down, everyone's saying end of the dynasty, creates fuel to come back and be like, fuck
Finish
you.
strong.
Right. Like, yeah, we did it on our terms. It's all guesses, but betting, I would say they're both coming back.
Yeah, I
think they'll win a Super Bowl. I think they will make the moves like they tried with AB. They tried. I mean, and I know Brady clearly like wanted him. I saw AB being like, I'll only play next year where Tom Brady is. You know, he was a fuckhead and couldn't shut up. They tried to get him the tools. They'll go and get him tools. They've done it in the past.
Yeah, I think the only people right now are saying, "Oh, the dynasty is over," because everyone's assuming that either Brady or Belichick are leaving, and I guess you're just basically don't buy into that. So that's why you're not buying into the hysteria.
No, and
but if one of them,
if I had to choose one to stay,
Belichick,
if you told me gun to head one's leaving, I would keep Belichick. But I don't think that's going to happen, and that's just because he's the coach and he can be there forever. There's so many different things I'm kind of contradicting, but the fact that they're saying now that Josh McDaniels is leaving makes me think there's no way in hell that Belichick's leaving, because we were all under the assumption McDaniels came back because he was told when Belichick leaves, you become the caretaker of this. Now it seems like it's maybe, his son. But I don't think Belichick's leaving anytime soon if McDaniels is interviewing for jobs. Right. Like I said, I think they're all coming back. And I'm not totally devastated. This year, they started hot, but really, towards the end of the season, they never did that thing where they kick it in and you got confident. They had one game, the Buffalo game. I thought they looked good. But then you just don't lose to Miami at home as 17-point favorites last game of the season with that wild card game on the line if you're not seriously flawed. And clearly they were, because they didn't look good against Tennessee. And Brady said it. We were the same team we were the whole season. We didn't, there's no light switch. So
what's it do to Dave Portnoy if Brady leaves, if he goes somewhere else, if he's playing for somebody else?
I'll root for him wherever he goes.
You watching every game?
Yeah, as long as he's not. I'm still a Patriot fan. Patriots play Brady. I'm rooting for the Patriots, but I'll root for him no matter where he goes. There's no team he couldn't go to. I'd root for him to win the Super Bowl as long as it didn't interfere directly with the Patriots, no matter where he went. No questions asked. And I would progress if he went to the AFC East. Go have win every game except versus us. Like that. That's how I feel. How could you not? I mean, he's done so much.
Yeah, I almost feel like it is. It makes it more likely that they get the band back, to keep the band together, whatever you want to say. That they weren't even like if they were very close and made a good run and had a good finish to a season, I could see Brady retiring or them considering.
I don't think he was ever retiring. I don't think
Right.
Brady was ever, even if
I
they
could see
won,
them being-
I don't think he was retiring.
I could see them being more likely to split up but going out the way that they did, now everybody chirping that like the dynasty's over and that people remember like the pick six and all
the
that
pick
bullshit.
six thing is garbage.
But
Like,
people-
remember that? The people are acting like that was like a backbreaking. The pick six actually
Game was
fucking
over.
helped them. It literally, that gave them, if they had a 0.0000001% chance of winning that game before the pick six, they had like a 0.0000002 chance, because it's way easier to return the kick and get a 2 than it is to score a 99-yard touchdown from your own goal line. The pick six, people are like, oh, it can't end on that. I don't think it will, but they're acting like this was you're going in for a fucking game-time touchdown. He throws a pick six. The game was over.
Right, it wasn't like a Tony Romo
No.
choked it away.
Game was fucking dead by that point. So we'll see. The big X factor, the only X factor, is Belichick and Brady's relationship, which is all sorts of guesses. And I saw them on the greatest quarterback show of all, the greatest, was it quarterback or coach show, where they're both on the NFL 100 and like they look like they're best friends, just all praise. If there's some sort of personality conflict that we don't know about, that's the only reason you'd ever break this up. Because the Patriots have to pay him. They have to. That's your best chance to win the next 3 years, no doubt.
Yeah, it sounds like Kraft is 100% in on that.
Correct.
So it would have to be a rift between the two of them.
Correct.
That is just
Or
speculation.
Belichick honestly thinks like, no, he's too old. We can't win with him.
Or we could allocate our money elsewhere
Correct.
better, yeah.
Yeah. And in which case, who knows? Who knows who wins that argument?
What's your interest level like the rest of the way? Playoffs, Super Bowl week.
Nah, not much. Not much. I'll watch it, obviously. I watched all the games. I'll root against teams I don't like. Like I don't like Baltimore. I don't like Kansas City fans. I never had a problem with Kansas City. I don't like their fans. I don't want the Titans simply because it made me feel guilty. So there's the AFC is basically out for me. I have no problem with the Vikings. I have no problem with the Texans. Packers I have no problem with. And
Seahawks, Niners.
I don't like the Seahawks. I don't.
And Niners you can't because of Garoppolo.
Correct. So I got 3 teams that I'd have no opinion on them winning.
Why the Seahawks?
Because Javon Clowney is a cheap shot artist and should be suspended. I don't like Pete Carroll.
What was with that? Why did they just let that go? Basically,
I still don't think they've mentioned that on the broadcast.
What?
I mean, that was a vicious cheap shot, vicious, and helmet to helmet. The quarterback, he didn't like slide, but he was going down. It would have been like a personal foul in my mind if you just hit him anywhere. Never mind diving at the back of the head. And then Clowney acts like some fucking villain. It was a dirty, cheap shot, and he should truly be kicked out of the NFL. I believe that, Clowney. And then he says Philadelphia fans are the worst people in the world. I take offense to that.
Hey, your other team, your backup team's out too.
Yeah, everyone's
How
out.
how much were you rooting for McCown to carry on that Foles torch?
I mean, listen. I wanted I don't root against Wentz. I think Foles was the guy, so I was rooting for McCown, but I was rooting for Wentz. I mean, I bet on the Eagles. I mean, I'm rooting for Philadelphia. Once the Pats are out, I'm like, go prove me wrong, Carson. But I'm not one of those guys who are like, oh, what a week. I don't know if people are actually saying that. I mean, he's always hurt. I mean, anybody who gets cheap shotted like that, what a villain Clowney is.
Yeah, that wasn't like because he's injury prone.
No, and then you had Clowney like dominated the game while Wentz is fucking, in the locker room, and you got a 900-year-old guy at quarterback. So that was unfortunate for Philly. I mean, I even saw Smitty being like, we have to play a perfect game, and it's like, I don't think you did. I don't think the Seahawks, if Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt, I think you win that game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks offense only put up 17 points. It wasn't affected by any injury.
So,
yeah, you can beat 17 points without playing a perfect game.
And I mean, they kept driving to like the 20, the Eagles. They were moving in between the 20s and just kept settling for field goals. Then they started going for it. So
the poor Buffalo Bills, that
was a wild game.
Trying since '95, I think, is the last time that they won a playoff game. Up 16-0, and just everything went wrong from there, and they blew a wild game, a devastating game if you bet on the Bills. But
it was a wild game. I mean, the good news for the Bills, especially if the Brady-Belichick divorce happens, they're on the up and up. Josh Allen, even though he lost his mind for a little bit, I think
he's an agent of chaos. He just things get wild, crazy, chaotic.
And that was one of the most jaw-dropping decisions
when he threw
I've ever seen.
He went
lateral.
He went mad. That game,
he did. He just lost his mind.
He thought there was like 4 seconds left.
That game was over like 100 times. First of all, I called it. I bet on Buffalo money line. Gambler Dave, live bullets, when there was 13-0 in the third quarter, and there was the turnover, the Hopkins fumble, and the Buffalo defensive back just dove on it, which is fine, but did not get up and run for a touchdown when he could have walked into the end zone and literally has teammates grabbing him by the shirt, trying to pull him to get up. I said, right there, mark that down, because that's a big play. It would have made it 20-0, like early mid-third. Instead, that's when fucking J.J. Watt got the sack, held him to 3, became 16-0, 2-score game. Should have been 20-0 and done. And from then it was like all Houston. But even that, the Texans, when they went for a 4th and 1, you thought the game was over. Stuffed. Buffalo comes all the way down. They screw up. They get the ball back. Buffalo wins the game on the QB scramble. The rollout, the designed rollout, where Josh Allen had 2 linemen in front of him. They both whiffed on the block, and that was like 10 yards, and they would have been inside the 40. They would have had a field goal attempt. That, it looked like it was going to be over. And obviously that Deshaun Watson play was insane. I still don't totally know. I haven't heard what the Buffalo defender. It almost looked like he wasn't ready for contact. Like he like the way that
surprised him that he got there.
Well, like the way that Deshaun Watson got out of the first tackle, he like spun into him, so he wasn't like ready to wrap. And then it's an iconic play. It's a career highlight play. So crazy round of the playoffs. 2 overtime games. Patriots lose. I thought it was offensive pass interference, and
Saints?
Minnesota Saints,
Yeah.
like clear. And I love Kyle Rudolph. He's my guy. His team Portnoy. To me, that was clear. You can throw the penalty flag after the fact. Like, if he doesn't push off, he doesn't catch that. He's twice his size and just pushed him.
I think the Saints just can't blame that, though. I mean, the way Sean Payton maybe had like the worst clock management I've ever seen at the end of that game. At the end of regulation. When he used the timeout, he had 2 timeouts. He used one at like 2:50, and then he didn't use his other one. So they still got the ball back with like 1:56 left and 1 timeout. And then when they were in field goal range, there were 21 seconds left. They had a 10-second runoff because of a false start, and he didn't call the timeout. And
I didn't have a problem with not calling timeout there. I thought that was a super hard decision.
But they didn't use it at all.
No, I know, but they didn't use it all because they didn't complete a pass.
Right, but I thought they could have instead of spiking it, then they could with 11 seconds you could run it up the middle, try to get something, and then spike it.
So if they call the timeout, right, you have 21 seconds. If they use it, no timeouts.
Right, and you take an end zone shot, and
I think 21 seconds is super dangerous if somebody catches the ball inbounds and is tackled of you getting another playoff. Yeah. That's what makes me like 11. Like, so yeah, they took the timeout they didn't use it, but they never completed a pass. So in which case you'd use it. So you could throw the ball anywhere with 11, get tackled, and call a timeout. No, 21 seconds to me, you're very close to not getting your field goal unit on the field.
but I think the even bigger mistake was using the one at like 2:50 or not using, because you either go to the 2-minute warning with 2 timeouts instead of 1, or you get the ball back with like 2:40 to play and the 2-minute warning. So use a timeout for like no reason whatsoever.
They can't get. I mean, the Saints. I thought, like,
Lucky
do you think they call the offensive pass interference? Do you think they call that most of the time?
Yes. Do you mean in real time?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was a missed call. Yes.
And I feel like they would on a review. You're more likely to get it.
Is he just saying no in there? Who's this guy? I don't even know who he is.
His head no at you.
What?
Just shaking.
Who
his
is
head
that?
no at you.
Yeah, he's the serious guy.
I don't think they call that most of the time.
Say who you are first of all.
Oh, I'm Aaron. I'm filling in for Eric. He's
Yeah.
sick. Hopefully he'll be back tomorrow.
Okay.
I think he'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, we've talked to you before. You're
Yeah.
the guy who I thought looked young, but not.
Yeah.
You're saying you don't think they call that normally?
I don't think they call that normally. I think there was a lot of hand fighting. I think Rudolph got a one-handed push-off at the end. It was a slight. I thought it was slight enough that they usually get away with that.
I don't think so. I thought
that was what I thought.
blatant.
I thought, like, once you break it down, yeah. But in that moment, I think they let that go most of the time.
I feel like offensive pass interference gets called a lot this year. I thought that was blatant offensive pass interference. There is hand fighting, but he got a full extension of the arm and like pushed him backwards.
I thought once you looked at the review, obviously it looks way worse.
Yeah, I expected
feel
it more
like in
to
real
be
time,
overturned on the review.
Yeah, I can
Fine.
see that, but in real
Right.
time, I feel like that gets.
And
let go
even
a lot.
how fast when they're like it. At first, I thought they said they didn't review it, and then they said they did, but the review lasted maybe 1 second, which I don't. I mean, there's certainly something to look at there, but that's the Saints. I mean, the Saints are the only team that's been screwed by the NFL worse than the Patriots. I mean, they really have. Bountygate's like the most made up. I mean, yeah, every team was doing it, and they fucking ruined the franchise. I mean, you suspend a coach for a year is insane.
Bye.